He sits near her while she grooms herself, not touching, but present, and she understands that this is his way of acknowledging what she has built, of recognizing that the infant she saved years ago has grown into a healthy young gorilla because she was willing to risk everything for a stranger. They sit together in comfortable silence, two individuals who should be enemies by every law of nature, united instead by shared history and mutual respect. When he finally leaves, returning to his own troop, she watches him go with a sense of completion that has nothing to do with personal achievement, and everything to do with seeing the world become slightly better than it was slightly more capable of, surprising everyone with what is possible. The seasons turn, and she grows old, truly old now. Her movements are careful, deliberate, her body needs more rest, gentler food than it once did. The southern troop, this mixed group of chimpanzees and gorillas, accommodates her without a word of complaint. They make sure she gets the best food. They plan their daily travels around her slower pace. They treat her with a deference that speaks volumes about her unique place in the island's new society. She's become a living bridge between the past and the present, a keeper of memories. She remembers how things used to be and how they changed. She is a tangible reminder that this incredible cooperation wasn't inevitable. It was chosen. It was built, piece by piece, through countless small decisions to trust rather than to fear. The young adults, the teenagers of this mixed society, seek her out. Not for grooming, not for food, but for something harder to define. A kind of wisdom. A wisdom that has nothing to do with finding the ripest fruit or avoiding predators, and everything to do with understanding that boundaries exist mostly in our minds. That what seems impossible is often just unexplored. She doesn't teach with words or actions. She teaches simply by being there. Her very existence is proof that radical change is possible, that one individual's choices can ripple outward and reshape entire communities. On a warm afternoon, near the end of the dry season, she makes her way slowly to the territorial boundary. This is where the chimpanzee and gorilla ranges overlap, a journey that now takes her most of the day. She settles in her favorite spot, a flat rock that catches the last rays of the sun. It's warm, comfortable, a place where she has sat countless times over the years, watching the unlikely alliance she helped create solidify into a permanent reality. The island's sounds surround her. The calls of primate groups, no longer segregated by species, now mingle freely. It's a complex symphony of voices that represents something genuinely new in this world. In the clearing below her rock, young chimpanzees play chase with young gorillas. Their games are boisterous and joyful, indistinguishable from the play sessions you'd see within a single species. They have no idea this should be impossible. They don't know their parents grew up in a world where this kind of interaction would have been met with brutal violence. She watches them with a feeling that might be called contentment. She has lived long enough to see her impossible become their normal. To watch the next generation take her revolution and make it simply how things are done. The silverback appears at the edge of the clearing. He's older himself now. The silver fur on his back extends further down. His movements show the first hints of the stiffness that comes with age. He sees her on her rock and changes direction, moving toward her with a deliberate purpose. This, too, has become normal over the years. These cross-species, visits that would have been unthinkable in the time before the bridges were built. He settles on the ground near her rock, not touching, but close. They sit together, watching the young ones play. Two elders who remember when everything was different, when the boundaries were absolute and the very thought of cooperation was revolutionary. They don't communicate with calls or gestures. They communicate through simple presence, through the shared experience of having survived long enough to witness change, through a mutual recognition that they were both part of something far larger than their own individual survival. The sun sets slowly, painting the clearing in shades of gold and amber. She feels a deep tiredness, one that goes beyond physical exhaustion. It's the kind of tiredness that comes when a long, difficult task is finally complete. She has rewritten the rules of this island. She has shown that the impossible can become possible through persistence, through a willingness to pay costs that others considered too high. The scars covering her body tell the story of that payment. But the playing young ones below, they tell the story of what was purchased. As twilight deepens, the various primate groups begin their evening routines, moving toward their nesting areas with the casual coordination that marks an established alliance. Chimpanzees call goodnight to gorillas, who respond with their own rumbling vocalizations. Sentries from different species take up coordinated positions around their shared territories. Young ones settle in for sleep, surrounded by a mixed group of protectors who no longer distinguish between us and them. They simply see vulnerable juveniles who need protection. She watches this final settling with eyes that are growing heavy. Her breathing slows, matching the rhythm of the cooling forest. Her mind drifts between the present and the past, between the beaten exile she once was and the revered elder she has become. The silverback remains near her rock, a silent guardian. She appreciates his presence in these final moments, this last gift of companionship from someone who should have been her enemy, but instead became the foundation of everything she built. Her breathing slows further, evens out, becomes peaceful. Around her, the island continues its ancient rhythms, indifferent to individual deaths, but shaped forever by the cumulative weight of individual lives. She has left her mark on this place, on these communities, on the young ones who will carry forward the knowledge that species boundaries are not walls, but bridges waiting to be built. In the morning, they will find her still on her rock, peaceful, her long struggle finally ended. They will grieve in their own way, chimpanzees and gorillas together, vocalizing their loss, acknowledging that something important has passed from their world. The silverback will stay with her body longer than the others, a vigil that transcends species, a final gesture of respect for the female who saved his infant, and in doing so, saved them all from the prison of inherited hostility. Then, they will move on, because the forest demands it, because life continues, regardless of death, because survival waits for no one. But they will remember, the young ones who played beneath her rock will tell their own offspring the story, through gesture and example, and through the patterns of cooperation that have become ingrained in the island's culture. They will speak of the female who crossed boundaries when everyone said boundaries were absolute, who built bridges when everyone said bridges were impossible, who looked at a dying infant of another species and simply could not walk away, even though walking away was the safe choice, the expected choice, the choice that would have kept her secure in her own small world. The island remembers nothing. The island forgets everything, but the communities she shaped, the living, breathing network of cooperation she helped create. They carry her forward. In every peaceful interaction between species, in every coordinated defense against threats, in every young one who grows up knowing that differences are opportunities, not obstacles. She was beaten. She was isolated. She was told that her instincts were wrong, that her vision was impossible, that the boundaries she wanted to cross were absolute, and she refused to believe it. She crossed anyway, built anyway, risked anyway. She chose possibility over safety, connection over isolation. She chose the hard work of bridge building over the easy comfort of staying within familiar lines. In the end, that refusal reshaped an entire island's social structure. It created forms of cooperation that shouldn't exist. It demonstrated that the rigid patterns that feel like natural law are often just the absence of someone willing to try something different. The sun rises on a forest that has seen 1,000,000 deaths and will see 1,000,000 more. But this death, this quiet ending of one extraordinary life that refused to accept limits, it ripples outward in ways that will echo through generations. The elder is gone, but what she built remains, solid and real, and growing stronger with each passing season.